Hey guys, I am Devon Warren here, known as the president of Divine TV, After Entertainment, Friendship and Discovery, and Mr. Entertainment's cartoonist creator, first actor, and filmmaker there for self today. And welcome to my 8th live streaming on YouTube on Wednesday, December 24th, 2025. Woohoo! Happy time! And it's almost Christmas, which is Thursday, December 25th, to open our presents. But we haven't got any Christmas decorations to decorate. I think some of my parents don't want to do Christmas decorations anymore. But don't worry about my parents, though. Worry about yourself, okay? So, welcome to my 8th live streaming on YouTube on Wednesday, December 24th, 2025 during social media platform. I got my stuff and everything. Any questions, any thoughts? Well, let me know in the comment section, okay? Let's get to it now. In 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's begin. Okay, let's begin right now. This is Wednesday, December 24th, so, yeah. This is my computer. Let me close it, open it again. Close it, open it again. One more time. Open it and close it again one more time, sweethearts. Yep, I'm all right now. Let me just exit out real quick. My YouTube creator studio for my YouTube channel, Devon Warren 4864, and my phone name is on here. Oh, here it is. My phone name is on here. And I have 1,496 subscribers for my channel. Every single day on YouTube, okay? Every single day. I meant every day. Twice as possible, okay? So, let me just go to Gmail. Gmail, guys. Thanks. Okay, let me just go to Gmail real quick. This is Google. Well, thanks, Google, but I don't have time for this right now. I don't have a lot of time, okay? Well, guys, I know what to do. I'm on live right now. I'm posting this on Wednesday, December 24th for today. You know the drill. Let me just go on Wumbo, and then YouTube next. Like I said before, guys, YouTube and Wumbo. This is it. Let's see, okay. Looks good. Looks good, actually. Let's just go on Wumbo. Steven Crowder. This would be a lot faster, though. A lot faster than this. Clock is ticking. Clock is ticking again. Clock is really ticking, guys. Let's begin.
Oh, geez. Oh, wow. Okay. Oh, geez. Oh, wow. Okay. I knew that since we were starting later. I asked them, hey, can we just, I have this cup of tea, can we just zap it real quick because it gets a little cold? And that was, I mean, they went, it's kind of like the fast forward function on Amazon or Netflix. There's a couple of frames or DeLorean. Yeah. I just sipped napalm. So we won't taste anything for weeks. Yeah. Well, we're going to turn on the air. It'll be Agent Orange. So I guess that's how it's going today. Today is a special, well, I guess just a guest segment. Are we going to Rebel Premium today or keeping this all wide? Do we know any good names on that?
We're going to keep it all wide. But,
everybody's all right. Well, my club Rebel Premium folks, you guys let me know. Nick, I just went outside just to get some fresh air, and then I had water follow me from the gutter. Also it's raining. Also, we don't have gutters. So I think there was just someone up there.
just someone pouring water on
it. Exactly.
Got dirty in the
Just an angry old man. Take it!
Oh, we added some leaves for you.
And then he's throwing it. So, Nicholas Fuentes. Nick Fuentes is going to be on the show. I believe we're trying to bring him. He's the host of American First Dare on Mobile. Controversial figure. Now, look, I know that for a lot of folks, it's a no-win proposition because people are mad if you platform them. You know, you have the very vices of the world. People out there who don't want you to host anybody if they disagree or they think the views are so abhorrent. And then you have some fans or some people who might identify with Nick, who no matter what you say, you're paid for your show. Or I just hope that we can take our disagreements at face value. And really, this is not meant to be debate. It's meant to hopefully illuminate where we agree, where we disagree. I mean, I'll sit down with anyone.
Disagree is a dangerous course. You know what I mean? For President Donald Trump and Vice President Kamala Harris.
To do with somebody that maybe people have a problem with, or they have problems with certain ideas, and you do have disagreements that you need to talk about. You need to discuss these things, or just isolate people. So I think it's good to have these conversations. Yeah. Oh, Josh is here.
Yes, and I concur with Gerald's conclusion.
I should
Well,
okay,
he is
just,
here,
we
guys.
might take some chats later.
Shut
Just
up.
comment below what do you think of this segment, this episode, and we'll take some chats later questions that you most likely want to ask. The reason they're being quiet is because I have a rule where if we have a guest on, if it could be confrontational, I don't ever want someone to feel like they're being dogpiled on. Yeah. So I always say, hey, let's kill the mics and just make it mono-E-Z. Just to be careful, I don't know why on YouTube.
Yeah, no, we are still going mono. Mono?
Is it mono-E-mono?
Mono-E, what?
That's
That's
Latin.
Latin.
I don't get it.
Is mono-E-mono Latin or something?
I don't really get it, guys.
Oh, I thought it was Latin.
I don't really get it
All
right
of that's language.
now. Okay.
What the hell is happening? And
Sic transit gloria. Glory faith. What? Is this where you just walk off the sea, you're like, it freeze frames at the end, or what? The guy had that tattooed once and he would say it like that. He'd go, glory faith.
Oh, man.
I already hate you.
That was a pencil mustache and mullet.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, his wallet came from Hot.
Hey, don't come after the wallet change.
No, I'm not so much one of
Can you guys see me?
My wallet's safe.
Okay, good, good.
Is there like a pocket pandemic going on, or an epidemic? There was in the UK, and the Pakistanis are bringing it back.
I got Gerald sounds suspicious.
He does sound
He's like,
suspicious.
nobody's stealing wallets out here. Nobody protect your wallets.
Who has ever heard of such a thing? Oh, a wallet being stolen? How could that happen? It's on your person. That just defies reason.
Which cartoon I should be watching today?
$3 in his wallet isn't like the most likely target.
I have
I have to think of something in general right now.
Prove it right now.
Well, how about Courage the Cowardly Dog? How's that?
No, he specifically said $63.
Let me just pause this. Let me just go to the full screen to watch Courage the Cowardly Dog for a second here. Okay? Let's begin. In 3, 2, 1.
We interrupt this program to bring you Courage, the Cowardly Dog Show, starring Courage, the Cowardly Dog. Abandoned as a pup, he was found by Muriel, who lives in the middle of nowhere with her husband, Eustace Bear. But creepy stuff happens nowhere. It's up to Courage to save his new home. Stupid dog, you made me look bad.
I love this show so much. 1999 to 2002 on Cartoon Network.
In the UK, and the Pakistanis are bringing it back.
I think Gerald sounds suspicious.
He does sound
Nobody's stealing wallets out here. Nobody protect your wallets.
Who has ever heard of such a thing? Oh, a wallet being stolen? How could that happen? It's on your person. That just defies reason.
Grind my gears now. Turn around.
I'm just like the 16-year-old with $3 in his wallet is like the most likely target. Is all I'm saying.
I have $63 in my wallet.
The problem is
I didn't know Chess has plenty of money for his pocket. Or from his wallet in Rumble World. As a community social media platform in the United States of America.
I have
Okay?
$60 American and $3 bills.
No, you lied. $60. Liar. Why? I thought it was factually incorrect. All right, guys, we have Mr. Fuentes on.
You're rich, so deal with it now. Deal with it.
You guys might are going to go for a while. Any last words? I don't know. It's a good conversation. Yeah, it's one of those things where this is the problem too. These kinds of conversations.
Be quiet with him. For the most part,
no, I wasn't wrong.
I just want to forget and stop out to do some weird questions and stuff. You know, both the Violent Studios and owned by Fresh Listen Discovery and his entertainment. Pop 2, WTV, and Apple TV, and everything for my show.
Julie Michaels? I mean, come on, look at that. That'd be like taking advice on how to urinal from Julie. Oh, well, she might have. Surprise. All right, we have our guest on the show. All right, it's time, and again, you guys can leave your comments and chats, and we'll take some questions from you later on. Let's welcome to the show, Nick Fuentes. Mr. Fuentes, thank you for being here, sir. Can you hear me, see me okay?
Yes, can you hear me?
I can hear you, and I appreciate the Christmas decor. A lot of people don't do that. Let me get this just a little quickly. Obviously, on X, and that's the way you're back. Nick J. Fuentes, Nicholas J. Fuentes. It's America First on Rumble weeknights, right?
Yes, correct.
Okay, and as I understand it, next week you are going to be on Piers Morgan Uncensored.
Yes, Monday I'll be doing a show.
I will warn you, Piers Morgan Uncensored is rather censored, and it's not. I don't know.
Well, wait, I mean...
Quite challenged me to use him on the
We
show.
just
Maybe
got a
3 times.
little
Everything
bit
from
closer,
Mark
so the juice doesn't get
him cast
spilled.
it, and then
When
everything
it drops,
afterwards.
well, I have to feel it the entire day.
I'll keep that in mind.
All right?
Try not to use it.
If he asks you, well, would you say it, or he challenges you, and you do, he pulls a magic trick where people don't hear it.
I'll have to record it on my end. I'll just blast off. Maybe if I say loud enough, you'll just play it anyway.
Well, I figured that one time, so we can give you some tips. I had a buzzer every time someone interrupting. Edit out the buzzer. Not him, his producers. But, Nick, I appreciate you being here, man. You know, right now it's a weird time. People are trying to tell folks they can't actually have conversations, no matter how much you agree, disagree. So, let's kind of set what my expectations are. I did hear that you said hopefully be friendly. That's my goal, too. First thing I will say, we got into Joey Michaels. I should say this week. Where she was saying people disavow. I'll get that. I hate, above all else, it's like I feel compelled to defend, no matter who it is, when jokes or statements are mischaracterized, taken out of context.
I bet Curtis likes that, doesn't he? Yes.
I want to do that.
I know him. That's a big
Hopefully,
dog.
you know, not everyone else does that. And I also really hate seeing gang ups. That's why I told my anyone here. I really didn't like seeing what happened with Candace and Tucker, especially after you appeared with Tucker. And it seemed pretty cordial. And then you took pot shots once you were gone. I promise you, I'm not going to do that. Is that fair?
Yeah, no, I appreciate that.
Okay. And what I really want to do is I want people to actually hear your views, what they actually are. And I know a lot of people are going to disagree. And some people
Uh-oh.
they'll
Not good.
be convinced.
Not good.
And I want them to make up their own mind and deal with contracts. So I asked them to do that. I will also say, hey, look, I do want to thank you because you know, I've been set up for some sort of hit pieces myself. And you didn't join in on the dog pile. And I do appreciate that.
Yeah, gotta stand up for a guy. You know, it's pros before hoes. So,
Yes. I don't so much appreciate you implying that I'm bringing talking points from BlackRock or the Israeli considering I've been sued by BlackRock and even Rumble had to fight back. So I think let's just make sure we take each other's opinions at face value. I don't think that you're paid
I
for
don't
the same
give a
thing you're saying.
reward.
I can
Let's just
tell you
think,
that
okay?
from an outside entity, nonprofit, or foreign interest. Okay.
yeah, I believe you. Sounds good to me.
Also, I want to introduce issues who are not mischaracterized. A lot of people watching. This is the last kind of rule. I want to kind of address each issue point by point. I'm going to avoid point stacking. So let's go rapid fire because people will use that. Take it out of context. You know, people go, Nick, wiggle out of this, and they do that when they have one. No one mischaracterized anything. So with that said, a couple rapid fire questions. You know what? Okay. Yeah, sure. These are layups. But I need rapid fire. I know I can do this. Nick, I think there's some misconceptions of you I heard this said. Can you clear the air? Nick Fuentes, do you hate all Jews first?
No, I don't.
Okay. Do you consider yourself an anti-Semite, a noted anti-Semite?
No.
Okay. Clears that up. Do you believe that white people are superior to all other races on the planet?
No.
Okay. Do you want to eradicate all non-whites from the United States?
No.
Okay, well, very much be very happy to do that. And then because this happens a lot, right? It's a, you know, Fed. Nick Fuentes, are you in fact a Fed?
No.
Okay. I'm going to get that through that really quickly. Actually, so this week, Dylan Michaels will be on the show next week while you're doing Pierce Morgan Censor. And she said that we disavow you, and specifically said you had said that women either want or need to be raped. Now, I looked for this. I have not found as a matter of prescription from you, correct me if I'm wrong, that you believe women should be raped.
Now say that was delicious waffle with peanut butter nuts and somebody syrup
So she's wrong. She doesn't think like that. Now, no, this one might surprise people, because I know you and Charlie Kirk are sort of rivals, as you described. There's a lot of controversy floating around that, and people often say that you blame the Jews for everything. Do you believe the Jews killed Charlie Kirk? That's one of the conspiracies out there. Now, what's your position on that?
I don't believe that. As it stands right now, I think it was Tommy Robinson.
Yeah, okay, me too. And if there's something else, I hope that we find out, but I think a lot of people will just sort of toss you in that lot. Okay, I think we cleared that. So, look, there's people who might be new to you here. I mean, obviously, quite a few times, if you may not have heard the background. Tell folks out here your story. How did you come to your current position?
Well, I appreciate the rapid-fire intro, because that is my reputation. That's what people say. It's not pro-rape, want to kill everybody, whatever. So I told you, the audience.
You grab this
I
one.
appreciate the opportunity, because I thought the audience knows that, but maybe your audience
The second graders are going to school district as far as special square hands, really, we can afford to be able to go from Okay?
I was a fairly morning conservative in high school.
Well, take a look.
Since I was 12 years old, and
See?
in those days, there wasn't a lot of stuff.
That's my full name, to be announced January 2026 next year. SpongeBob SquarePants, Blu-ray, Mickey Mouse shorts, every other back.
University, all that kind of stuff, and I would say that I was about as mainstream as it gets. I was pro-Israel, pro-free market, fiscal conservative, basically libertarian, is what I would say about myself. And then the Trump election kind of just hit me like a train, and I had a series of realizations about the media, about immigration and demographic change in America, what the political implications would be for that in elections, but also just in society. And then, obviously, the biggest and most controversial one is I really love the idea of America first. Trump said that at his inaugural, he said that at the RNC, and when I heard that, I said, that's me. Like, more than I'm a libertarian or even a conservative, that's America.
Here I am. Hi, everybody. Subscribe to my channel, Go Hard Wild, which is me, and that's my full name.
Obviously, that's true. And I remember I knew a lot of people from Daily Wire in college, just jumping ahead a little bit when I was in college. Really pro-Israel. And I remember first just weird, because you have a set of talking points from PragerU, Daily Wire, whatever, and it was like, we're in favor of gun rights, low taxes, the free market, you know, pretty standard set. And then it was always, Israel has a right to exist, Palestine must be destroyed. And I said, you know, one of these things is not like the other. But this is clearly different, and it's conspicuous, and you never see a critical opinion on those things. And I tweeted that, I want to say 10 years ago, because I've never actually seen criticism of Israel on Daily Wire or Prager Bureau called me an anti-Semite for saying that. And I said, how is that anti-Semitic? And what's more, I said, that reminds me of how if you criticize women or blacks or Muslims, they call you sexist, racist, Islamophobic. I said, how's that different? And for that, I got blacklisted, and they really made my life a living hell. These people went to American Conservative Union, they got me banned from CPAC. Matt Phillips, who was at Daily Wire now, back then he was campus reform dad,
That's so cute.
AFD. This guy was out
But that's cute, what you said.
Shapiro was going around calling me an anti-Semite and blowing up pieces about me. And basically, ever since then, I guess I've been kind of like, I consider myself like the Revenant. You know that movie with Leo DiCaprio where he gets like killed by a bear? Yeah. And he has to fight through the wilderness? That's kind of how I feel. I was like left for dead at 18, and then I had to kind of fight to repair my reputation and like prove what I'm saying. So that's kind of
What's great about that movie is the real story. The guy's actually a badass. I don't know if you actually read about him. In real life, he sexually dominates there. But it's I remember that big controversy when people, there were a bunch of conservatives saying, we're not going to go see the Revenant. There was this rumor that he was raped by the bear. I don't know if you remember that. That was a big story. And I watched, I'm like, this is a CGI bear. But you remember back to Daily Wire. Sure, because I don't know if you know this. You have to mention PG.
Been there on Fox now.
2009 after YouTube. And like you, I grew up in Canada, so we didn't have AM radio. We didn't have Fox News. I was at Fox News for about 4.5 years, and I'd never seen anyone who was there on the finished doing panels, how phones, and said, debate this guy. And then it just kind of went on for a while, and I reached the end of the road. But you know, I've had a little bit of a, I guess you could say, turbulent history with no, not for the same reason. But I will say this: there's definitely everything they haven't talked about publicly about this. People know the contract issues. But I know you use the term gatekeeping, and I know some of the behind the scenes too. Let me ask you this before we get to that, because it sounds like you're saying, and this is something I've kind of seen. I've kind of watched you develop a little, and I can understand someone who's young. I think you turn lashes out, and not just put on a couch and ask about your mother. But I can understand why you'd be upset. Was this though when Ben Shapiro was saying that? Was it before or after this sort of what he would classify as targeted harassment campaigns from reporters, you know, bombarding his events, and a lot of conservatives were being, you know, doxxed and swatted? I'm not holding you responsible for that, but you know that happened quite a bit. I don't even do it yourself. Was his blacklisting before that, so that your sort of campaign or the fan campaign was a response, or was it after?
It was completely before. So just for the timeline, it was December 2016, and I didn't start my show until February 17. So it's before I even had a show, before I was anybody, before the Wipers were even a thing. Wipers came around in 19, so it was way before.
Okay, because I didn't have the right to show up to like comedy events. This happened a while ago, and they just sort of went away, and they were under the impression, I don't use this, but like, open borders talk. They kind of fizzled out. I was like, well, no, I'm not. We can close the border, and I think we should deport people who are here. I don't legally have strict immigration period. That's not a new view for me. So yeah, I can see how people put under false sort of pretense with Daily Wire. Here's what I experienced. Now I don't know about your timeline. I know Cassie Dillon posted some receipts saying like it's this and that accurate, but I would imagine you were getting general timelines and people to sort of paint a picture, right?
Yeah.
With Daily Wire, what happened is, you know, being demonetized on YouTube, they created a new rule, borderline content, because they couldn't follow the rule. Sorry about that. It was the third rule specifically because we, you know, had a lawyer plan for this. I would get in conversations with people at YouTube, and especially before COVID and vaccine questioning that for the lockdown. I would have people very happy at YouTube say, well, we don't have these kind of problems with Daily Wire. I said, well, I'm not. And without getting into any private information, there were conversations that took place, and that was something that really wrong way. It was sort of, you'll kill us last, right? And they famously bragged about spending more money on Facebook and Google than anyone else, and then there was pressure being applied from YouTube to sort of step in line. So I can corroborate that that was something I experienced behind the scenes, but that helps illuminate it all.
Yeah, and I remember it very well. I remember the apocalypse, and I remember your tiff with them. I remember you going on Tim Pool. I remember the whole thing. And I've heard that even, I'm not connected, I'm not tapped in at all. I was radio active for so long, but even I heard rumors they had made deals with Google behind the scenes for Facebook, and it's well known they were like the number 2 advertiser on Facebook, like number 2 not like among conservatives, period, for many years. And so, even notwithstanding the Israel stuff, nobody knows the fact that they were kind of the beneficiaries of a monopoly in the sense that like all their competition got banned. Anybody that was dissident, anybody that was controversial, basically was no platform, not deplatform, no platform. Yeah, and I think you got caught up in that as well. I remember
their contracts require it. And by the way, I was never the one to release. Just to be clear, there's some people there who I'm friends with. Jimmy Borning was never one. The contract necessitated, right, where they would penalize their own creators. I believe it was 25% for the first YouTube suspension, 15% more, another 50% for Facebook suspension. So my issue wasn't the money. My issue was that first off, this would be 10% penalties for me because I'm literally just all these places right now. But this is the fact of doing business of big tech, and that's the reason for it. I didn't like being put in that position, but yeah, I can understand why a young guy would feel betrayed or feel hung out to dry, and I think that might explain it quite a bit. Even if we disagree with like I told Mr. Jones, 2016, 2017, I don't know Israel. Now, unless I support them over Hamas morally, but I think we should stop funding all sides of the war in the Middle East, and hopefully you find that a reasonable position, whether you agree with it or not. I don't think that's extreme. Ben didn't seem all too bothered by it, but I also invited him to be on the show, and he went to and he disappeared, and I just saw him on David Chapman, so that's so boring.
That's interesting, so he agreed to come on, but then he canceled?
Yeah, it was just sort of informal, podcast, and then I just haven't heard back from you on the show time, so I give you credit, Nick, Candace, Tucker, Ben, Mark, everyone invited on. You're the only one with the balls to show up. I have to give you credit.
Yeah, no, and I appreciate it. Even though you didn't call me out, I saw the clip.
Well, I knew you would show up. You're like the game. You're like the game. Say every time you show up. No, but we didn't want to be a conflict. We already communicated our position, and I didn't want to call you out as though you were done. Yeah, no, and I'm here. I appreciate the opportunity to speak with you, and I think we agree on. Maybe this is going to sound like I'm kissing your ass a little bit, but I do always feel like you were less bad than all the other people in the conservative movement. That's high praise.
Well, I know that sounds lame, but I mean, during the Groyper War, I know that Groyper showed up to your events, and I remember thinking like Crowder's he's not even really bad on any of the issues like Daily Wire. Even like Turning Point was 6 years ago. They got a lot better in intervening than maybe the past 3 years. Yeah. But no, but I always think you have balls. So I think you're one of the more credible people in the commenting.
Well, come on, don't put me in that shit. I'm not saying at all. I've been rejected by that scene, just not quite like, but quite a bit. I'm just getting around to work for something. I will say this though. Yeah, there was did you encourage the Groypers to go? Or was that their own thing? That's just clear.
I don't know. So long ago, you were not one of our major campaigns. We were really focused on Turning Point. So you might have been on the calendar. We threw together a calendar and said these are all the speaking events that in the fall. We were really focused on Charlie Kirk more than anybody. All right. Well, could you give me really nice it wasn't the same kind of thing as yesterday. It might have been sound like the same kind of show. Sure. Yeah, I understand it. Here's the place we're going to do it. Because the Groypers back then, I'm just kidding. So, I'm glad I was talking about this. We posted all the videos, links, references, and we were at SMU, and I knew they were comfortable, because I was on council. And so, again, the same way I knew everyone. And I made rankings. I don't remember the name of this private admiral or something like that, but here's how I kind of also did a little bit of money. So nothing. Everyone agrees with you went up on the side of the auditorium. Everyone disagrees here, we're going to go 1-1. All the records went out, and we're supposed to go to secret, like private general. So the last second, before we go, we have to chase the venue, and we swapped the lines so that the wrong guy went first. And I remember in your group, or not your group, whatever the Facebook group, one of them said, did you see I asked the question last night? I got it. You were stuttering, disgraceful fool. You were not amongst us. And they threw it on the floor, and I was on the way. I remember we had generals. We didn't have, maybe they did that on their own. We had generals. We were sort of tongue in cheek, we were a little ironic about it, but no, but I remember the tricks you guys were pulling. It was pretty, that was pretty clever. I'll give you that. It was pretty clever. That was a good counteroffensive. We were tricking, and I wanted to do some fun stuff. America first. I identify as a conservative, as a nationalist. I wear that since it became a pejorative. Like I thought that was sort of the default thing for America. So you would hear me saying nationalist, and people would be like, nationalist means you're supremacist. Like, well, I'm a nationalist. Not nationalist. Of course, America to do that. Since you, I know very clearly America first. Let me ask you, what do you love most about America? I love that we're superpower. I love that because I really do believe that, when you look at history of Western civilization, I love the idea of an empire. I love the idea of the Roman Empire, Spanish Empire, British Empire, and I love the idea that we just have this crazy productive capacity, that, huge population, huge resources. I like the power of America. That's something I've really been liking a lot lately.
Okay. And of course, we want to take that for granted. The power of America. Like, I think that switches in a nanosecond. As far as, is there anything else you'd like to induct yourself in power?
Yeah, I mean, I love political theory. I like the Constitution. I like our culture. I like that we're like a pan-European empire. I like that, because when you compare us to Europe, you look at Europe and it's sort of petty and small, and they're squabbling and they're fighting, between these like little towns.
Sorry about that, guys.
There's just like this sense of nationhood in America between European Christian people.
Sorry about that, guys. That was just reason I covered for myself.
Yeah, which can work out that free atheism, population in the industrialized Western world, even though it's also the state force, eventually force domination. I don't know if Europe is quite left, but I do understand that the founders were largely like Christian European. That is the basis here. It doesn't mean that Catholics aren't welcome. But let me ask you, what about the founding, the founding fathers? That's something, because I know you have opinions kind of on both sides of that, and I think they're more nuanced, but is that a big part of what you like? I love the founding fathers. I think they're brilliant. I love George Washington. I love Hamilton. John Adams.
Oh man, this is totally good. It's really good right now.
Can you kind of explain?
Someone just did a picture from the program. It is my 20th birthday. Oh, thanks, Mark.
So that you're not quote unquote conservative. That's not your
Ooh, this is going to be fun. Thank you,
reactionary
Lucia. I
conservative.
really love
I
your
don't know
picture.
when I say I'm not
And you're
conservative,
so
something
mean.
else.
Thank you so much,
And so,
Lucia. Thank
you
you
know,
so
as far
much,
as the way
Lucia.
liberty goes, I
Happy
understand our
Wednesday
country,
on
you
December
know, generally
24th,
this is a
2025
climate
Christmas
of course
break.
that's gone too far in some ways. But I do like that we have a free press. I like that we have the right to own guns. I am a capitalist. I'm not an ideological free market person, but I like that we have private property. I like we can own what we earn. And on some level, I like that we have a republic. I'm very into the idea that we have Republican sovereignty. You know, that we have rights, they're protected by God, the Constitution respects that also. And I would say, because I can kind of see maybe, I don't know if you're comfortable with this, if I could go a little further here.
I mean, look, yeah, whatever you want. And as long as we're disagreeing and understanding it's meant to be fair, but I'll let you know what it is.
Yeah, because maybe I can see where you're going with this. You know, I'm really not like a totalitarian. I don't want a police state. You know, to the extent that people say these things about me, like you're a fascist, you're a communist, you're a socialist, I'm very much not in favor of that sort of thing. I just think that, you know, in the past 30 years we've gone a little bit too far in the other direction. That's all.
No, I do disagree with that last part. For example, I think it's very reasonable to say, you know what, maybe OnlyFans isn't a good thing. When you have libertarians going, oh yeah, if they ask for identification to prove your age to get pornography, the next thing you know, they're going to take their guns away. Yeah, I think that being 18 to get hardcore pornography kind of makes sense. So if addressing the hardcore libertarian sort of ideology, I would agree. If it goes towards like a theocracy or something like that, which I know you discussed, I would disagree. And look, I want to play this because of course everyone's asking us about the Tucker Stall. So what I want to do is play it, and then I know that you already explained it more recently. I want to play a longer clip in context and then give you the floor, because otherwise we'll say, why do you sell and ask about stuff. Here's the clip for those who haven't seen it from Tucker Carlson.
Okay, let's just read the Devon Warren's 23rd birthday book, which is my 23rd birthday already passed on Tuesday, March 11th. Okay? It'll be real quick, I promise. Brooklyn just graduated and moving on to high school, so I don't have to be able to work on the Brooklyn anymore. Just in case she gets back for a field day on May 2026, I can just work on the Brooklyn show only. Okay? With her letter point chat. So, characters, May, Avery, Bev, Fruit in real life, and Super Devon part-time hero, Bluey, Bingo, Noah, since she's sick, Kodia, Carla, Miss Amber, Pearl, and Roger. On second thought, Miss Amber hasn't came back yet, but she would be returning next week before Christmas, okay? Disney Junior shows, and the Junior shows are Bluey, the Noah and Kodia show, the Box Spike with Amberton Coffee show, and last but not least, the Brooklyn show. Again, the Brooklyn show. Let me just eat these real quick. There are cough drops. Hi, it's me, Devon Lawrence. Today is my special 23rd birthday, and I'm 23 years old right now. Now, technically, I am 23 years old, but my 24th birthday is coming next year on Wednesday, March 11th, 2026, to celebrate my 24th birthday, okay? Page 1. This is me saying hi and talking about my 23rd birthday. Page 2. And I call some of my friends to celebrate my 23rd birthday. Hello, friends. Come meet me at my house for my birthday. Unicorn Mommy, Jet, Brooklyn, and Mrs. Myers. Emily, Beth, Bluey, and Bingo, Noah, Cody, and Carla, Miss Amber, Perrin, Roger. Actually, Miss Amber, Perrin, Roger. Page 3. Emily, Beth, Bluey, Bingo, Noah, Cody, and Carla, Miss Amber, Perrin, Roger were setting out my 23rd birthday, featuring Brooklyn, Jet, Mrs. Myers, and Unicorn Mommy. Balloons, birthday cake with icing. Hello? Anyone here? I mean, hello? Anybody here? Guys, hello? Can anyone hear me? Page 4. One day, I arrive and no one's here, unless... Page 5. All my friends were shouting at me to say surprise and happy birthday. Well, thank you guys. Thank you for celebrating my 25th birthday. This is my best birthday ever! Thank you guys, thank you. The end. I am so only eating that birthday cake that I just drew in order to make a book, okay? I can just keep this forever and ever since I just created this book for myself about my featuring 23rd birthday. I will be creating my 21st birthday book coming next year on Wednesday, March 11th, 2026, alright? Boo! The end! Boo! Let's get back to what we're on YouTube, shall we? Yes.
Like mid-December, late December. Is that like December 18th?
I wanted to see him again. I wasn't as well.
That's just not birthday. Have you now that you're
Oops! I just hold the camera from my phone. There we go. Can you guys see me? Okay, there. Yes, I do.
The second you left, it was a different Tucker again. Is that a fair assessment? I was kind of surprised.
Yeah, 100%. And, you know, I had the same experience with Candace. I went out there because him and I had beef. Me and Tucker had been privately and then publicly beefing for years. And, you know, he got me on the phone over the summer, and we talked a little bit, and then somebody arranged, Alex Jones was part of it, and somebody else kind of put this together. I went out.
Wait, Alex Jones was the mediator?
He was.
You didn't make up for it. I can't imagine him being the middle ground, okay?
He's a sweet guy, you know, he's a sweet guy. Yeah. So he didn't want to see us fight because he loves Tucker, he loves me. He kind of put it together for us. And so I go out there, we have dinner, we do the show, and at no point during the show or during the dinner was it really even contentious. Was there really even an explicit disagreement? We had some disagreements, but he kind of tried to avoid those. I don't think that he was very forceful or direct about those. And then I went on my show the next day and said, yeah, it was a great interview. I thought it was really nice, and maybe we're on the same page now. And then every single interview that he's done since then, he doesn't say my name without calling me an anti-Semite. He's going and doing the circuit, and every show that he goes on, he says, you know, Nick is really talented and this and that, but I don't agree with his anti-Semitism and Jew hatred. And I'm like, okay, so where was that?
All right,
During the
thank you,
show. I didn't hear that during the whole thing. I'm an anti-Semite now. And I wish he would have brought that up during the discussion, because I would have loved to discuss that or to dispute that or whatever, but it's like you said, I got a completely different hunker after the fact. In all these other shows, he's going around and telling everybody, you know, that like it's the making of a murderer. Right? Like, I can see why people like him, even though he's so awful.
Avery's. Yeah, you know, you got them doing there.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I can't make a show about that like 9 years later. Okay, so that's about making a murderer. I was like, this is like very late. Okay, but going back to that's the clip that people say ask him about Stallone, and I would have in Tucker's shoes asked him about Stallone. Now I've seen you on another show explain it more recently. Now, I can't play the whole clip; it'll be really long, but I want to play a longer one and then allow you to provide any missing context. I can't remember the name of this. Something Danny D, Johnny G. Tommy G.
Really some hilarious moments. But there was a moment from the Tucker Carlson interview I wanted to ask you about. You mentioned Stalin. Your father's work.
Yes.
Was that serious or a joke?
That wasn't a joke. But, you know, it's like anything else. I love history, and I love stories. And to me, Joseph Stalin is an extremely compelling figure. I would say more, you'd be surprised, than Hitler. Everybody pegs me as like a Hitler guy. I'll tell you, and I'm not saying this to pander, I'm not saying this, because I care about what you think of me. I really don't even know that much about Hitler. I never found Hitler to be that interesting. I think that there's narratives about Hitler that are interesting. In America, if you talk a certain way about certain issues, they say, you're a Nazi, you're Hitler. So it's interesting in that way. But for me, Stalin is a far more compelling figure. And I say that because, while everybody focuses on Hitler, Stalin is a person who takes Russia, which is the most backwards country in Europe at the beginning of the 20th century, serfs and peasants, and just all around immiseration and poverty. He takes a country like this, and by the time he dies, it's a nuclear empire. It's a global superpower. It's like the most unbelievable story in the history of mankind. And so I don't think he's a good person. He's an evil person. He's one of the villains of history. But in terms of his effects, he's an effective ruler, and I think that's interesting.
Okay. Now, if it goes on, we'll make the link available. I don't want to do an interview with everyone watching you watch you. But so with that, and I was asked about this in Chris Morgan. And again, I have to condemn you. So I said, look, I don't know. He could have meant. I don't know if he pulled that whole thing through, and I know everyone's a little snippy. I said, he could have been saying he's fascinating. Like, for example, I can go on the rival of Stalin versus Trotsky, like how much they hate each other, which would seem odd to us because they're very similar. The spoiler alert, it's two assholes fighting, pretty much all it. And I would be curious to ask him about that. So when people say disavow without having the full context, I think that's wrong. Now, that said, my question to you would be, I know that you have said we need a Catholic theocracy or a Christian theocracy. I've heard the word dictatorship, correct me if I'm wrong. So I would ask you, since the endpoint seems much more similar to where Stalin reached, which is Christianity, would you be able to name, or is there any one thing that you think America, like concretely, should copy about Stalin's rule or methods to get there?
Not his methods, because like I said, he's an evil person, a murderer, and genocidal, arguably, with the famine. I mean, I think it's pretty clearly intentional that they were trying to kill all those people there. And so, I want to make that clear. Sometimes I feel like it's almost childish, and I'm not saying that about this interview, but just in general, when people say, wait, he was a bad guy, it's like, I know he's a bad guy, like, I know he was evil. And I suppose the thing that I find maybe more compelling about Stalin as a ruler is the way that he industrialized the country. I'm very interested in this, because that is, among the other things that I talk about, a very important problem in the countries that were deindustrialized. And what Stalin did, and I said that in that clip and in other clips too, he takes a country that has no history, and he literally, and with brutal, evil methods, I don't replicate, I don't support that, but he does take the country and drag it into the 21st century. He does that by bringing in heavy industry. 5-year plans, the collectivization of the farms, it was about prioritizing heavy industry so that they could eventually build ships and planes and tanks and, the things that they needed to fight the war. So,
but what about seizing industry? And what about doing it by force? I mean, at least the party purchased the show trial. So, say the industrialization of the country, how do you separate that from the only methods were largely evil, or certainly his calling card methods? But that's what people would say, okay, if you point to him as an example, is there anything worthy of emulating other than, because you can point to other countries that industrializing, including the United States?
Well, I don't think that is necessary. I think because it starts with the idea that a country, an empire, needs industry. You need to be able to make things. We don't make things. We don't even make the machines that make things anymore. China makes all the things. And so starting from the idea where Stalin says in the 20s, he said, we're either going to do in 15 years what it would normally take us 100 years to do, or we're going to die. Our country will not exist anymore because we are encircled. And I feel like America's in sort of a similar position where we need to race ahead of China or else we are going to be destroyed. We need industry back in the country. I don't think that we need to take grains to feed the factory workers and enslaving people in gulags. But I do think the government needs to set, it's sort of like when JFK said, we're going to go through 10 years. I like the idea, this ambitious idea of we're going to catch up in 10 years. We're just going to go out there and do it. We're just going to build it. And I don't support, killing people. I don't think you need to kill people to achieve that. But I like the idea of urgency, setting targets, having a national strategy, and, and doing it for the sake of power projection.
Well, and I agree, by the way. Industrialization is good. We went through that in America quite a bit before Russia. The reason that they
just draw some other characters
to do it by force. My question is, am I mischaracterizing? Everything I have seen in the history would be different. But I think Stalin was a fascinating historical character. You talked about the Great Dictator, where we did brackets for 3 days. Hitler, Stalin, Pol Pot, Mao. Funny thing was Papa Doc in Haiti because he finished it. He wasn't all wrong. We were very clear about this. And I think Mao ended up winning. Might have been Pol Pot, or the number wasn't as high, but he was just really dumb and really brutal, which is a bad combination. How could you get, we're talking about now, to Stalin's industrial result without Stalin's method? Do you want to get the Catholic, first off, you said Catholic theocracy. Is that, do I understand?
I might have said it, but I don't believe in a Catholic theocracy. I think that the government should be Christian, but not a theocracy.
Okay, not a dictatorship.
We might need a very powerful executive for a short amount of time. I think that's maybe unavoidable. Okay, but not an ideological totalitarian state. No.
So how do you get to that in the industrialization? Stalin. How do you get there?
I think that you need tariffs. I think you need subsidies. I think you need a massive public works program, something like the New Deal. And I know you're probably not a fan of that because I know you're a huge free market guy, but I think that one of the things the free market doesn't do well is it doesn't allocate resources efficiently on like a long-term timeline. In a long-term timeline, America needs to have a ton of industry to be able to support its navy, to be able to protect supply chains and trade routes. And the free market has not been able to accomplish that. So I think that the government needs to intervene in this case to basically say, like, we're not going to import these manufactured goods from China. We have to make them ourselves. We need to subsidize them, and maybe we bring people on, under the goal of the state in a public works program to accomplish some of these things. So I believe in an intervention from the state to do that.
Well, okay. So I understand. By the way, tariffs, I understand, and especially with the revenue that we generate. I don't think that's an infringement of the free market. I think it's a correction of an unfair market, of a market where we've been fleeced. So I think we agree on that. Subsidies are massive public works. I mean, you have is it 39 trillion? Look at the clock recently. I certainly wouldn't say that we haven't been subsidizing. We absolutely can afford it. The old joke right in Russia is they pay us to look like we're working, and we look like we're working. Like they look like we look like we're working. We've done this here in the States, and if you go back to FDR, and maybe you're a fan of FDR. FDR's approach. Certainly Barack Obama, the biggest modern spending package. I was around for that. Shovel-ready jobs was awful. And same thing for Russia. I mean, if you throw enough bodies and human suffering at something, you can get something done. But even then, it was still significantly behind the world that was more free, the United States. So where have we not done? Because I look at it and I go, well, we have been subsidizing almost everything. I agree with you on China. I agree with you on tariffs. I think that's huge spread. What would that look like?
Well, I don't think we've been subsidizing industry. I'm not saying just like subsidies across the board. I mean, we need to actually subsidize and prioritize the industries that we need in the country. So, like, for example, the CHIPS Act, I think that was a great thing. I don't think it was enough, and I don't think it was comprehensive, but I want more things like that. Like, there's no reason why, they're doing it in Arizona. They're bringing TSMC over to Arizona. They're building a chip application facility. We need that, and I think the government should give tax breaks or just straight up give subsidies to the companies that are going to do that. And I think that we need aggressive trade negotiations. I guess maybe where we differ ideologically is that I want a very smart government. I like what Doge did. I like the idea of bringing people from the private sector into the government. And even Trump said that in 2016, to work on trade deals, to work on, for example, China steals all our intellectual property. They steal all of the developments that we have. We need people that know about technology, almost in a technocratic way, like true experts, guiding our trade policy, guiding, in some ways, our economic policy, setting a benchmark that it's like, we need like 10% of the economy or 15 or 20% of the economy to be productive in 5 or 10 years. We need to be making ports, ships, or we need to have countries in our orbit that can do it for us, like South Korea or Japan, but we just need people that are in charge that are, kind of aware of this problem. So, yeah, well, I guess that's maybe the difference.
No, I don't think that's the difference. I can outline maybe the difference based on what you just said. I don't have a problem with CHIPS. I know what you're talking about the CHIPS Act, I agree. And I think the big problem is, yeah, absolutely, Chinese stealing intellectual property. I think they're a huge threat. I mean, then you could point, though, to like American auto manufacturing, which has been abysmal. I mean, industries that have been heavily subsidized. I mean, if you look at insurance industries, pharmaceutical companies, energy companies, and you remember also about cylinder and green energy companies. Every company has been heavily subsidized and regulated. It tends to be less efficient and it tends to be more expensive, but we do need to protect certainly things. I would say the chips are a matter of national security. But my thing is, you say like those, I don't know if they differ. That was largely axing things. You just mentioned stuff that really for the first time has been done under this administration. And where we differ is I go, this is a step in the right direction compared to Biden, compared to Barack Obama. Yeah. And then I know that you also having to burn it all down. So where I differ is, you said you're reactionary. I've heard you use the term the accelerationist. Well, accelerate toward what? Because if that's what you want, and I agree with you, we're getting more of that than ever before. So how would you get there, and why would you burn down the progress?
Well, I'm not an accelerationist. I think that I think that's sort of misguided because if we're, and I agree with you, accelerating towards what? That's the operative question. So that's why I'm not an accelerationist. I think that to make things worse is only basically to vote in favor of chaos and death and potentially civil war, low-level political violence. And I think you're rolling the dice with that. So I'm with you on that. As far as the Trump administration is concerned, I don't want to
interrupt, but I want to address kind of the point.
No, totally, yeah.
Okay, but hopefully you think this is fair because I really want to be. I know that I disagree with you on some fundamentals here, but you did say that Kamala Harris would be a better choice, and you did take billboards out against Donald Trump and told people not to vote in certain elections. That would be, and just maybe use the term accelerationist, but you said at least then that would sort of ignite what we need because it's a uniparty, it's all the same, right? So I view that as accelerationism. Whereas I see where we agree, where we find progress, I would argue is better than 4 years of Kamala. And I would argue that we were at the precipice of really looking at descending into the abyss. 15 million of illegal aliens, and not to mention the legal immigration problem. Add another 10 million with Kamala Harris. We no longer have a country where you and I would both agree. So that's where I don't understand your position.
Yeah, well, let's sit in this for a minute. So first of all, and I just want to clarify, I know you know this, but maybe your audience doesn't. I never told people to vote for Kamala. I didn't vote for Kamala. I never told people to vote for Kamala. I didn't endorse Kamala. My plan, and again, as long as we're in good faith, I'll explain to you my thought process on this last year. It looked at one point like this was going to be a very contentious election, like it would be very close. It turned out not to be, and eventually it became clear that it wouldn't be. But it seemed like maybe this election would come down to one state, like Michigan or Wisconsin or Pennsylvania, one of the 3 Rust Belt states. And my problem in 24 is that Trump was not promising an immigration moratorium. In fact, he was saying the opposite. He said that he would staple green cards to diplomas, which is a very famous policy. It's been around for decades, and Democrats and Republicans have said we're going to give green cards to every foreign student. I said that's a disaster. That's terrible. And then the other thing is there was a rumor that he had a quid pro quo arrangement with Miriam Adelson that he would allow Israel to annex the West Bank and intervene in the war with Iran. And so those are kind of my 2 issues. As I said, if we elect Trump, we're going to get all these Chinese and Indians. They're going to get green cards, and we're going to get H-1Bs because that's what Silicon Valley wants, and we're going to get a war with Iran. And so I looked at it this way. I said, if the America Firsters rise up and sort of tell Trump, here's the ultimatum. You can come out and say you're against the H-1Bs and the F-1 and green cards, and you can say you're not going to bring us to war in Iran, and we'll vote for you. But if you don't, we can't vote for you. And that was kind of the idea. It was like a contract with the Trump team. Now, ultimately, Trump became basically, his advantage grew to be so big that he wasn't worried about losing in one of those states. And I felt that way. I said, we don't have leverage anymore because he's leading by so much. It's clear he's going to win. And that's why we sort of abandoned it in the middle of it. The representative was like a contract with the Trump team. Now, ultimately, Trump became basically, his advantage grew to be so big that he wasn't worried about losing in one of those states. And I felt that way. I said, we don't have leverage anymore because he's leading by so much. It's clear he's going to win. And that's why we sort of abandoned it in the middle of it. But aside from, so that's where that came from.
Just to clarify, abandon what?
Abandon what?
The Great War II, because we were going to go to Michigan and we were literally going to knock on doors and hand out leaflets and stuff, and we said, you know what, let's just not anymore because he's going to win anyway. So we bought one billboard.
You're going to knock on the doors and tell people to vote for Trump, the voters in Michigan?
Oh wow, that's enough of live streaming on YouTube on Wednesday, December 24th, 2025. So, any questions, any thoughts? Wow. Let me know in the comment section. Thanks for watching and have a great day. Bye! So long, live streaming on YouTube. Thank you so much on Wednesday, December 24th, 2025. Bye!